We're being live streamed. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
So yeah, even if you have to scale back a little bit because there's a lot going on, like most networking groups totally understand that, right? And to make the effort to stay connected, even if it's just sort of wishing your one-on-one network happy holidays, or hope your family's well, or whatever connection you've made before to those individuals that you've networked with a lot. That can go a long way too, just to stay on top of it, so that when the new year comes, when the holiday stress settles down, you can sort of get back and be like, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back into that group, talking to those people and learning, how they've been.
I feel like the holidays can almost strengthen that bond a little bit because you made it through the holidays together. If you're a small business, it can be extremely, extremely stressful, especially during the holidays. So I absolutely love it. Sarah, am going to post a link, if you're okay with it, in the chat for your Facebook event. If you have other links you'd like to share, I really appreciate you joining us today and talking a little bit about your networking and your holiday balance. I can't wait to join today at 1 p.m. Central. So thanks so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. Jon and Tracy, back to you. I'll re-spotlight you.
Thanks, Kim. That was great. I'm excited. I think I'm going to pop into Sarah's event also today. I've been looking forward to it. But our next guest today is Deb Desandro. Is it Desandro or Desandro?
Either one, Desandro.
I think it's Desandro.
Especially I'm from Chicago. It's Desandro.
Okay. So after 25 years as a national speaker, author, and writing instructor, Deb Desandro coaches business speakers on how to use their speaking to grow. I should take some classes from her, combining her award-winning storytelling skills, trademark, humor, and her Tedx experience.
And Deb's mission is to unborify business meetings so potential clients listen, learn, laugh, and leave wanting to know more about you.
You should join me.
Her speaking and coaching have earned her accolades. I should join you. We'll do it together. Referrals and gratitude, success stories from clients and audiences.
Welcome, Deb.
Thank you. This is really cool. I feel like I'm on live TV on SNL at the news desk,
Sometimes it feels like it's on SNL. I agree. Yeah.
So how did you get into this business of speaking?
The business of speaking. Well, I started as a writer first, actually right here in this area. I took a writing class at WCTC and then had a newspaper column that ran for 17 years. And it was a humor column. And I loved everything about it, except that I couldn't see anyone laugh. So I decided to start speaking so that I could experience people laughing when I shared some of my humor. And that's how it started about way back 25 years ago. And since then, I've had the opportunity to speak to all kinds of groups from 5 to 500. One of my most favorite is when I was invited by this Illinois Department of Corrections to speak to the wardens and guards up for the state of Illinois.
Wow.
And they invited me back 3 years in a row.
Wow.
That may not be a good thing, but it's true. We really connected.
That is beautiful. So can you tell us, to get started, tell us what a TEDx talk is and then what it's not.
Okay.
Okay.
How about if I start with what it's not?
Okay, what it's not.
Is that okay? What
Yes.
it is not.
Yes.
A TED Talk is not a lecture. It is not a motivational speech, and it is not even a personal story about you. Now, although you might tell a personal story, please keep in mind it is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is a TED Talk?
What is a TED Talk? That's 7B, yeah.
Okay, so that is an idea, a single idea that helps us navigate or understand our world better. It can also be an idea that changes the world for the better, or an idea that has the power to shape our lives. So it goes way beyond ourselves and our experience to get out there in the world. It is exactly what it is. It's an idea worth spreading.
It's beautiful.
So are there different types of TED Talks? Are there different models or designs? to follow?
Absolutely, Tracy, there are. And one of the best ways to get used to seeing that is to watch as many TED Talks as you can. But there are 5 types that typically any TEDx talk you do will fall into this category. Now, the first one is called challenging the status quo. And that means, you know, we all believe a certain status quo, and then you're going to flip that. For instance, the positives of being negative would be flipping that status quo.
That would
Or,
I like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
pretty
wouldn't that
good.
be kind of interesting?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and that's what you want to do. You're curious to hear more. Another one is that shocking firsthand experience. And it has to be pretty shocking. One of my soon-to-be clients is a young man who spent part of his teens and early 20s in the prison system. And what happened in there and how it changed his whole life. Now that's a big, shocking firsthand experience. And what he has to do is take that and then make it relatable to the people in the audience. Now, the next one is solution oriented. And this is the one that we would probably all fall into typically. It's that you have an idea, you see the problem out there that most people are having, and you have come up with a solution and you share it in that type of format. And then the last one is for our researchers, anyone with a new innovative product. And in that category, you might be familiar with Brene Brown. She's the shame researcher. She wrote Dare to Lead, and that's an awesome book too, by the way. And you show some of that information. Yes.
So you have an acronym, SLAY, and can you walk
SLAY.
us through that?
Sounds kind of powerful.
It does.
Slay.
And-
Yes, I would love to walk you through that. From my experience, and one of the reasons why I really got passionate about wanting to coach business speakers is that when we get this opportunity in front of the room, we've got to respect that space. We're taking up time. And what I typically see is, yes, you're an expert in your field. So you get up there and you say it. And you just kind of, wing it and ad lib it. And I like to say, don't do that. Don't just say it. You want to slay it. So what does that stand for?
Right.
First of all, the acid slay is for stop. We are in a crazy busy world. And if you want to get people off their cell phones, maybe looking at, their TikTok reels, you've got to hook them in. And imagine it just like a fish. You get that little nibble on your line and that fish is now on there. And then you've got to make sure it doesn't let go. That's what the stop is. You've got to get your audience to stop and pay attention. And a really good hook opening is one of the ways to do that. So now you have their attention. The L is get them to listen. And how you get them to listen is you share a problem that's related to them. So you have to make that connection right away with the audience before they really care anything about you or what you may offer. Okay, and then the A is now they can ask, how does this relate to my business? How can I apply this to my business? So the application part is really important. And all of these are similar in a TED Talk too. And then the last one is to get them to say, yes, I want to know more, or I'm going to talk to Jon right after this meeting because what he talked about was right on point and I need him. So that's the difference between just winging it and creating a strategic plan around slaying it.
Can we use this SLAY technique for just creating content? And we don't have to use it just for a TED Talk, right?
Absolutely. You can use it in any type of business talk, but also content. And this is where I think I've gotten the advantage because I started as a writer first and I had a newspaper column with 800 words every week. And I would be writing about some of the topics of the day like anyone else. But I had to continually ask myself, what do I do differently? How do I grab the attention so that they focus on this story? And it's the same thing. You're going to use that same method of slay to get them to stop, read past your interesting opening, connect with what you're saying and see how it could apply to them.
I love it.
I do too. My brain is already working on some slang ideas for this show. Let me tell you. Do we have any questions in the chat for Desandro yet? If you have any questions, please put them in there.
It's just a note for myself for later. I wasn't writing
see,
notes this time.
you were
Very
thinking
good.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah. We have little notes that we kind of shuffle around here, a little behind the scenes secret. So thanks for coming, Dan. We really appreciate you stopping by. And as far as questions, what are the best practices for how to share your stories in a compelling way? Is a question from Angela Bonner in the audience.
That's an excellent question. And stories can be very complicated when you're first starting out, because we tend to say, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And that is boring. You have to really know how to plan a story. And I've been teaching storytelling for quite a while. It is a real craft. What you need to do is you need to have them. The one thing I like to say is you're not telling the whole story. You're telling a moment in time. And how do you recreate that moment in time so that the listener feels like it's happening to them? And there is actually brain science that shows that as you do that, if you can get all the senses in there, was there a smell involved? Was there something they could visually see? What were you feeling? That your brains will actually sync up. And as you tell the story, their brain will light up in the same way as yours, as if it is actually happening. And that's the power of story.
Story is so powerful, such a powerful way. It's a story is everything in your public speaking, whatever the modality, and that comes from September. That's such a great comment. How do you use story in your, you do a lot of posts and you tell a lot of stories. How do you use story in your social media?
I think the main thing that we try to do is we try to portray what they expect at whatever event they're going to go to. So then they know, they can kind of envision what they think will happen. And then when they get there, we try to meet those needs, and then it feels successful for everybody. So I think we do a lot of that.
Actually almost like walking them through the experience. Yeah.
Right. That way they don't go not knowing, if that's met, then they feel like we've accomplished what we were supposed to do, and they feel like it was successful for them because they got what they wanted.
Absolutely.
I guess the question that I hear a lot when we talk about something like Tedx is, when am I good enough? When am I, popular enough? When am I a big enough influencer? When is that? What is the mark? When can you do a TEDx? Is there a certain amount of followers you need, or like how do you gauge that? When are you ready?
Okay, absolutely not. There's not a certain amount of followers you need. You just need that one idea that's worth sharing. Now, it is helpful if you also have been a speaking or you're a coach, and you just have to be careful that you're not just reiterating something you say in every talk or something, right? And one of the things I've discovered is if you can do a brainstorming session, possibly with a coach, so that you could really flesh out that idea. And then you start observing other TED Talks, but the application process is really pretty simple. So for instance, TEDx UW Milwaukee, we've got a great one right here, and that's the one that I did, and I've gotten some other clients on TEDx UW Milwaukee, is just a written application process. And you can go on their website and just start to read those questions right now and imagine, how your idea would fit in there. And they take those submissions all the time, even if, they haven't released a date when their TED is going to be out. As a matter of fact, I talked to them before I came on because I wanted to give your viewers some update information. They do not know when 2022 submissions will have a deadline, but right now you can still go on there and you can either nominate a speaker or you can, nominate yourself.
That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
I think the bigger question is, how do you know when you're ready
Mm-hmm.
to do a TEDx? Like, I guess you just
Okay.
have to like jump in and see.
It's like the bravery you were
Yeah.
talking about in the book. But it's, and this is one of the things that I help people with who have a fear of public speaking. I remind them that it's not about them.
Mm.
The more you can realize, what's my message I have to share with you that's going to help you? And when we put ourselves in that mindset, it really starts to change. Then we realize, I mean, I know all your viewers, we love our businesses and we have a passion about it,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you want to share that passion, that's when you're ready. And you say to yourself, wow, I wish people would understand this about my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then how could you put that into that golden nugget of an idea?
Mhm. So it's more than just about you. It's your purpose is all of a sudden now taking over, and now you just want to get the word out.
Absolutely. Always know your
Mhm.
purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Andrea has a question about how do you choose the best story or idea for a talk? And I think this is a good question because in my experience, I've talked to a lot of people who said, I should be on TEDx. And then they tell me their story. And some of them truly have a TEDx story. And some of them truly just have a normal life experience that we've all gone through, but maybe they're, I don't know, they see it in a different way. So how do you discern whether it's a good enough story or if it's just something common, that maybe.
Absolutely. Okay. So in the types of talks we were sharing earlier, right? The shocking first experience has to be pretty big. So, and those are easy to identify. It's like, oh my gosh, you got to tell that on TED.
Like it could be like unfortunately, like a near-death experience or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, like if you broke your arm in football.
Right.
We all did that.
Now,
Okay.
however, that might be a story that's part of your TED Talk.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be in the shocking experience category.
Correct.
For instance, in my talk, I talk about an experience I had in 3rd grade with an art project where we used Easter egg shells to make a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch it, it's quite enjoyable, but it's not the point of my story. The point of my story is what happened because of that started to actually direct my whole life. And I would encourage your listeners to watch that and your viewers, because it will inspire them to do a TED Talk. It will.
It sounds like if you would like to do a TED Talk, maybe speaking to you and kind of fleshing out the idea would be a good first step before you write your 15 minutes of fame, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
yes. And other people in your your peers, flesh it out with them and they'll tell you which stories they love. And those typically might be a part of your TED Talk, right? But yeah, work with someone that has a little experience doing this, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time and grief.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
So, we have any other questions from the audience, or any questions for either for Deb or for September? We can open up the floor for any questions or talk or feedback. Go ahead, September. So we're not hearing your mic.
There,
Is anyone hearing the mic?
I've turned it back on.
There we go. All right.
I have a question for Deb. I'm Canadian, but I run my business from Mexico for the 6 months of the crappy part of North America's seasons. And that's now. And while you're speaking, I'm thinking, do you have to apply to be a TEDx speaker in the place that you are registered as a resident or a citizen? Or like, could I go on a TEDx event here in Mexico?
Absolutely. You can do a TED Talk anywhere. And always keep in mind, where are you doing it? For instance, like someone in Milwaukee who has a business here, it might be a benefit to them to do the Milwaukee one. But the whole idea that it's something that could help change the world or make the world a better place, right? So this make sure that it's not limiting, and then you can apply for TED anywhere. Absolutely, September.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Deb.
So let us know when you get ready to put your TEDx talk out there.
Well, first I'll have to talk to Deb about it.
I would love that.
Angela, you had a question about, if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask it.
Sure. I was just curious if there are different recommendations for how you might share a case study if you're a guest speaker versus how you would share a personal story, if there are different elements that we should be keeping in mind for that scenario.
So are you saying in terms of a TED Talk?
And not specific to a TED Talk, just general presenting and speaking in events. I'm curious if you have any recommendations around that.
So case studies are great. And, you know, one of the important parts about your TED Talk is proof of theory, right? And that's where your case studies would come in, right? Like, here's my proof of theory, and here's how we could create a broader application for this proof of theory. So it is very important. And I always say, know your audience. Like, how detailed do you have to get into your case studies? It might be more general depending on what audience you were speaking to, you know, and it could be more specific if you were speaking with researchers that really wanted to get into the details. Does that help?
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Andrea, you had a question.
I was just curious. It seems like all TED Talks are memorized. Is that true?
Pretty much. This is a little different than, you know, we get to have our notes in front of us, right? And I'll tell you what, not every TEDx has a teleprompter, which is what I thought was going to happen when I did mine. And so you do have to memorize pretty well. And that's why, again, if you understand that all speaking starts with writing, you want to be able to write this down so you can repeat it. And depending on the TED experience, like, everyone is different. Some of them are a little more lax and they're like, yeah, as long as you stay within this 18 minutes, which to do that, it might be best to have it memorized. And other ones are much more specific. So each one has a somewhat different format. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was thinking 17 minutes. So it's 18 minutes?
Again, I think 18 might be the cutoff. They call 16 the sweet spot. So, but there are some great TED Talks that are at 12, 13 minutes. So it's important to just stay within there. Be a little under is always great. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
This has been
Very educational.
This is great. I'm
Yes.
inspired, motivated. This is just
Yay.
great. Both of you were, you know, you have brought such great information and ideas today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
We
Deb, do you have anything you want to share with our audience about any cup? You always forget that question.
Tracy is so good at this part, John. Thank you, Tracy.
she runs the place. She keeps it running. Yeah.
Because I did want to
I know. I'm so excited for your new event, for your event
Thank
coming up.
you. I hope you come. So November 30th, that's a Tuesday, and it'll be after your show because it's not until 2:30, right here at Serenity Labs, Serendipity Labs. It's
Serenity.
Also very
Some days
Yes.
it's Serenity Labs.
It is. I will be doing a workshop that's called How to Talk Like Ted and Deb. And I'm going to go into some of these things that we discussed in a lot more detail. It'll be like about a 90-minute program. And I'd love you all to come and see if I can give you some more insights.
And that's right here in Milwaukee. And I think most everybody is in the Milwaukee area. And that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that one.
Thank you.
And they can find that information also on the website at /Deb Desandro.
Yep, the Connect Show /Deb Desandro. And with that, we're going to wrap up with a giveaway. Is that correct?
A giveaway.
Giveaway. So Kim's going to come on and let us know who won.
First, don't we have a giveaway little?
Oh, we have
a
the giveaway
little-
hype. Yes. Yes, Xander's over there saying we got to play the hype.
More cats?
No.
Oh, no more cats. All right,
Okay.
cool.
All right, everybody. We have our winner, which is Roger Wolkoff. Congratulations, Roger.
Yay.
There you go. The happy dance. That's awesome. So we did the splashers. So Jon, we're going to talk about the sponsor, and our sponsor is Serendipity Labs. We are so grateful that they let us live here. It really makes our day.
And our next show, we're going to have Kim Yang. No, we're not. That was our last show.
I know. Someone did change the slide.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We have 2 wonderful guests coming up next week. They're on our website because I can't think of them at the moment.
It is the Diamond Mindset. I'll help out. And it is Shay Mcnamara. He's about 7'8", and he's a rugby player, professional rugby player, and he talks about the Diamond Mindset. Really cool stuff. And we also have Deb, the LinkedIn queen, who is kind of a big deal in LinkedIn world. And she's going to give us some strategies and tactics to help us rock the LinkedIn world.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like another great show.
I know. We just keep having a great show after another.
It's getting better.
Yep. So we'd like to thank everybody for coming today and thank all of our behind the scenes people, Xander, Sandra, Kim, and all of our guests that came on.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next week in the Diamond Mindset episode. And with that, thank you for connecting with us on the Connect Show. See you next week.
The cleaning one.
There we go.
All right, guys, it was really fun.
Thanks, everyone. They're all frozen. Oh, no, they're not frozen. You're just very still.
All right. Are we networking today, or are we?
We can do networking.
We did not.
You guys feel like networking? I can't hear from 2 of you.
So, Roger, have you done? There you are. Have you done a TEDx yet?
I have not. And hey, Deb.
Can we pause? Can you guys stop the live stream, please?
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
Gotcha.
Putting this out on the socials. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's going to be recorded forever.
Everybody's going to hear about your.
Well, no, I'm just going to leave them in suspense.
There we go.
They're not going to know.
They got to come find us now.
Yeah, right? The switch is here somewhere, right?
Yeah, you know, when
Like the coffee pot. Wait a minute. Where's the switch? Turn off the coffee. Turn off the live streaming. There we go.